to an emotional boundary fight involving a longtime lawmaker taking another twist since we first reported the dispute.
The neighbors in Warren are battling over a strip of land that the lawmaker claims is his, even though maps show otherwise. The I-Team's Brian Crandall is here with why his neighbors are even angrier now. Brian?
Well, Patrice and Dan, the neighbors now say they're willing to give in to the state senator who lives next door, but claim his refusal to work out a deal has left them in a no man's land. A row of trees separates the two properties in Warren, but there may as well be a canyon between them.
If I see him, he's pure evil. He is a monster.
Cassie and Michael Patriarchs are on one side. State Senator Walter Felag and his wife are on the other. They've been locked in a boundary fight in court for 2 years. The Patriarchs are at wit's end.
You know what it is, Brian? It is dealing with a bully. I emotionally have been lost for 2 years.
As I first reported in February, the dispute started after the Patriarchs bought their house in 2022 and planned to add on to the side and take down the row of hemlock trees. Their survey and town records show their property includes the trees and about 10 feet beyond them. But the Felags fought them.
It's my property. I've maintained that property for over 40 years.
That was Felag in my previous story. He argues he had an agreement with previous owners of the Patriarchs' property and planted the trees in the 1980s, making the disputed strip of land his. Felag is using the established principle of boundary by acquiescence, or adverse possession, that a long-recognized boundary becomes the boundary, even if it's not documented anywhere. The Patriarchs had no idea when they bought their house. They've been paying taxes on the disputed strip of land, which is about 10% of their lot. Since my previous story highlighting the fight, the Patriarchs have had a change of heart.
And then we realized we are fighting against a monster, and there is no winning for us. So we threw in our cards. Take the land, leave us alone. We can't battle you any longer. Take it. I want to never see your face again.
But the Patriarchs say they found out it's not that simple. Giving up the 1,200 or so square feet, they say, would make their lot size out of conformance with zoning requirements.
Because the bank technically owns our house and our mortgage, and they will not sign off on a non-conforming mortgage.
So the Patriarchs say they offered Felag a solution. They would give him most of the disputed land, with an easement granting the Felags access right to the rest, including the trees, which they say would satisfy their bank. But Felag refused.
I'd imagine he's doing this strictly just to harm us. There's no other reason.
Felag also refused another interview with me, telling me on the phone, quote, "I'm not going to try the case in the public." He also told me he wants the case to be resolved as quickly as possible, but feels confident in his side's position. He told me, quote, "I don't want an easement. I want clear title to the property." And again maintained, quote, "It's my property."
He's making us suffer.
The Patriarchs say they're now stuck as a result.
The whole thing is very scary. I want to leave. I want to sell my house and move on.
But they say they can't sell because of the ongoing court case. And in need of cash after remodeling and the costly court fight, they also can't refinance.
We are a sinking ship. We have talked to an attorney about bankruptcy. Like, he's not seeing that people are struggling to get by, and this to him is a game.
Again, Felag would not talk to me on camera for this update story. The Patriarchs want state law change to prevent adverse possession. They've also now put a sign in their yard supporting Felag's opponent in the upcoming election. I'm Brian Crandall, NBC 10 News.